Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today it's a bit of a special one. Now you may notice on my account I have 1,250 golden eagles. I've been going behind the scenes, making some baby accounts, and just been grinding my ass off. The reason for it is for today's video, and not only that, a rare aircraft is coming back, most likely. And that is Pokryshkin's P-39. So I figured, okay, well it's his birthday today. He would be... Where would we have been? I've got him on my notes, but because yes, we are doing another Joe's Brief History Chats. We haven't done one for a little bit, so we did the Chaffee, and well, today is Pokryshkin, well, Alexander Pokryshkin, and if he was alive today, he would be 97. I think he would be, because on my notes here it said he died aged 72 in 1985, 15 years before I was born. But we're going to start off with his early life, and we're going to go over what he did during the war, and we'll finish up with everything that he did and everything. So obviously, it's most likely that his plane is coming back for sale, and obviously I want to pick it up. So that's why I've gone behind the scenes and gotten myself a bit of grinding done. Now, as much as I would love to use the P39K for grinding and stuff, Pokryshkin's P39 is likely to be better at that job. The main difference between this and Pokryshkin's is that the wing guns are removed, which really does affect the rate or the burst mass of the aircraft, but to be honest, I'm not that fussed. So, less of the blabbering, let's get into Alexander Pokryshkin and, well, what did he do during the war? Here we are. I had to look for that. This is quite a long battle, so that's why I chose it, because this guy's got a lot going for him, let's just say. So, to begin with, Pokryshkin was born in, oh boy, Novo-Nikolaevsk, I don't know how you say that, it's Russian, in Tomsk Governorate, son of a Russian peasant turned factory worker. He grew up in a poor, crime-ridden part of town, but unlike most of his peers, he was more interested in learning than in fighting and petty crime. His nickname in his early teens was Engineer. He caught the aviation bug when he was 12 years old at a local airshow, and the dream never left him. In 1928, after 7 years of school, he found work as a construction worker. In 1930, despite his father's protests, he left home and entered a local technical college, where he received a degree in 18 months and worked for more than six more as a steel worker, slipped my English there, at a local munitions factory. Subsequently, he volunteered for the army and was soon sent to an aviation school. His dream finally seemed to be coming true. Unfortunately for him, the flight school was suddenly closed and all students were instead transferred to be trained as aircraft mechanics. Dozens of official requests were denied with a simple explanation. Soviet aviation needs mechanics just as badly. Yeah, I'll agree to that. Pokryshkin still strived to excel as a mechanic. Graduating in 1933, he quickly rose through the ranks. By December 1934, he became the senior aviation mechanic of the 74th Rifle Division. He stayed in that capacity until November 1938, and during that time, his creative nature became clearly visible. He invented the improvements to the Shikata machine gun, which we all know and well in War Thunder, and the R-5 reconnaissance aircraft, amongst other things. Finally, during his vacation in the winter of 1938, he was able to circumvent the authorities by passing a yearly civilian pilot program in only 17 days. This automatically made him eligible for flight school. Without even packing a suitcase, he boarded a train to flight school. He graduated in 1939 with top honours, and with the rank of senior lieutenant, he was assigned to the 55th Fighter Regiment. He was stationed in the Moldavian Soviet Socialist Republic in June 1941, close to the border, and his airfield was bombed on the 22nd of June, the first day of the war. His first involvement in air combat was a disaster, to say the least. Seeing an aircraft in the air of a type that he had never seen before, he attacked and shot it down. I believe he was flying a MiG-3 at this time, only to notice as it was going down that it had red Soviet stars on the wings. It was a Soviet Su-2 light bomber of the 211th Bomber Aviation Regiment, piloted by Squadron Commander Mikhail Gudzenko. This was a new bomber type that was kept even secret from their own Soviet pilots. He then frantically flew in front of all the other MiG-3 pilots who were lined up on the other Sukhoi bombers, thwarting any other Soviet losses by other pilots of his units. Luckily, Gudzenko survived. Unfortunately though, the navigator was killed. That would most likely be the rear gunner on board. He claimed his first shoot down of an enemy aircraft the next day when he shot down a Bf-109, while he and his wingman were on a reconnaissance mission and were jumped by 5 enemy fighters. On July the 3rd, after claiming several more victories, he was shot down by German flak behind enemy lines and spent 4 days going back to his unit. During the first weeks of the war, Pokryshkin began to see very clearly how outdated the Soviet combat doctrine was and started slowly drafting his own ideas in his meticulous notebooks. He carefully recorded all details of all air engagements he and all his friends were involved with and came up with a detailed analysis of each. He fought in very complicated conditions: constant retreat, poor to no controlling and communication from HQ, and overwhelming odds versus a superior opponent. He would later be quoted as saying, "One who has not fought in 1941 to 42 has not truly tasted war." Pokryshkin survived several close calls. Again, I still believe he was flying a MiG-3 at this time. During this time, a machine gun round drove through the right side of the cockpit, cut his shoulder straps, ricocheted off the left side, and scratched his chin, covering the entire windscreen in blood. Twice, unexploded bombs landed between his feet. One time during a dramatic low-level raid by a pair of Ju-88s. Pokryshkin tried to defend his fighter, one of the few, very few remaining serviceable aircraft, by removing a flexible machine gun from a nearby bomber and placing it on top of his fighter's fuselage. I'd love to see that. One of the few German bombers saw Pokryshkin flying the only machine gun in the area and flew straight at him, dropping small bombs in a shallow dive. Pokryshkin watched a string of bombs running up to him, but not the bomb that landed immediately next to him that did not explode. The Ju-88 pilot had dropped it too low. The bomb had insufficient time to arm itself before hitting the ground. In the autumn of 1941, Pokryshkin, flying a MiG-3, possibly winter camouflaged, took off in sleet and rain conditions after 2 other pilots had crashed on takeoff. He was able to take off. His mission was to locate von Kleist's 1st Panzer Group, which had been stopped in front of Shakhty, I think that says, and then their position lost by the Soviet forces, because obviously due to bad weather. After some time flying at low altitude, low on fuel, in bad weather, he finally found them. And with this information, he was able to safely return to base. For the successful completion of this mission, he was awarded the Order of Lenin. When the German summer offensive of 1942 began, part of the 16 Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment had been re-equipped with the Yakovlev Yak-1 fighter, including Pokryshkin's squadron. In that period, Pokryshkin flew missions escorting Su-2 and Il-2 Sturmovik aircraft and was frequently engaged by German fighters. Can we get a off topic here, but can we just get a time travel, can we just get the DeLorean from Back to the Future and chuck Harry Feet back there? He'd kick ass in an Il-2, you don't need no escort. Anyway, jokes aside. On 17th of July 1942, during a dogfight of Bf-109s, he became separated from his wingman, Konstantin Fidjikov, and was jumped by a pair of, it says a Rot, I believe that is that 4 Bf-109s? I can't remember. G2 Gustavs, flown by the expert Feldwebel Hans Dammers and his wingman Unterofficer Kurt Kaiser, 7th JG2, 7./JG52. Initially, Pokryshkin dived to escape, but realizing that the heavier and faster Gustavs would catch him, he performed a Chandelle maneuver and then a barrel roll, This caused the Germans to overshoot due to increased energy over his own aircraft, and this made him so he could shoot them both down and kill them both. How's that? Well, in fact, no, sorry. I've made a mistake there. He only killed Kaiser. He did not kill Hans. Which is good for me, that's why I named him in War Thunder. But once again, Pokryshkin performed a barrel roll, forced Damage to slide forward, and then shot down the German aides. However, he did not kill them. In the late summer of 1942, his regiment was recalled from the front lines to convert to a new fighter type, the Bell P-39 Airacobra, which you can see on the screen. While training in the rear, Pokryshkin frequently clashed with the regiment's new commander, Isaev, the former regimental navigator, who could not stand his criticism of Soviet air combat doctrine. Isaev fabricated a court-martial case, accusing Pokryshkin of cowardice, insubordination, and disobeying orders. Pokryshkin was subsequently grounded, removed from his headquarters, and had his party membership cancelled. However, he was soon helped by his squadron mates, the regimental political commissar, and the divisional commanders, and was soon vindicated. The 216th Fighter Aviation Division's leadership dismissed the case against him and had him reinstated. Pokryshkin's most significant contribution to the war effort and the most impressive kill record came from the battle for the Kuban region in 1943. The area east of the Crimean Peninsula had seen vicious air combat in the months that led to the Soviet assault on Crimea itself. When the Kuban-based Soviet air regiments flew against Crimea-based Luftwaffe Geschwader, I hope I said that right, Pokryshkin's regiment fought against the renowned German fighter units such as JG-52 and JG-3 Udet. The area saw some of the most fierce fighting on the Eastern Front, with daily engagements of up to 200 aircraft in the air. Compare that to War Thunder. Pokryshkin's innovative tactics of using different fighter types stacked in altitude, the so-called pendulum flight pattern, for patrolling the airspace, the use of ground-based radar, forward-based controllers, and an advanced central ground control system, contributed to the first great Soviet Air Force victory over the Luftwaffe. In the summer of 1942, the 4th Air Army in which Pokryshkin served received their first mobile radar stations. They were tested in directing interceptions German and Romanian aircraft over water, and they proved highly successful. In early January 1943, 16th Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment was sent to 25th Depot Fighter Aviation Regiment, a unit tasked with checking that Soviet-made and Lend-Lease aircraft were ready for combat service near the Iranian border, to re-equip with new aircraft, and also to receive new pilots. Many of these planes had to be ferried in from Iran. Whilst there were delays in the assembly by the Americans in Iran, the Soviet pilots involved felt that the Americans were willfully impeding the war effort. I know that Raptor's not going to be happy about that one. It was at this time that the unit converted to the P-39 Airacobra, which, when all had arrived, transformed the unit into a 3-squadron regiment. 16th Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment received 14 P-39L1s, 7 P-39Ks, the very last of which was assigned to Pokryshkin, he did fly a K, and 11 P-39D2s. The unit returned to action on 8th of April 1943, and during the remainder of the month, Pokryshkin was credited with 11 Bf-109s and 1 Ju-88 destroyed. It is not clear what he flew at that time, most likely a P-39, to make reference to the fact that his unit has just changed to that. He was credited with a Bf-109 destroyed on his very first Airacobra mission on 9th of April 1943, and scored 4 Bf-109 kills on 12th of April 1943, one of his more successful days. He scored again on the 15th, the 16th, the 20th, the 21st and the 24th, 1 Bf-109 on each day, adding a Ju-88, probably in fact a HE-111, it's very unclear, on the 29th of April, plus 1 more Bf-109 on the 30th of April. On 4th of May, Pokryshkin gained 3 confirmed kills. 2 Ju-88 and a Bf-109. In most subsequent fights, Pokryshkin would usually take the most difficult role, attacking the German flight leader, who was often very experienced. He had learned that in 1941 to 1942 that shooting down the flight leader would demoralize the enemy and often cause them to scramble home. Taking that into account, several such experts were almost certainly among his kills during the month of May that year. On the 6th of May 1943, Pokryshkin shot down a Bf-109, probably the plane of 9 kills ace Unterofficer Heinz Scholz of 4./JG52, who crashed trying to land at Kudynikovo. I don't know how you say that. It's Russian. I'm not Russian, so I can't exactly pronounce it very well. 2 days later, his victim may have been the Bf-109G4 of Lieutenant. Well, I know it says Lieutenant is in like the German saying of it, but I'm just going to call it Lieutenant. Helmut Haberda, an expert of JG52 with 58 kills to his credit, though the Luftwaffe credited the loss to Soviet flak. Typical. Pokryshkin received his first Hero of the Soviet Union award on the 24th of May 1943 and was promoted to Major in June, having become commanding officer of his squadron. On 23rd of June, he exchanged his old P-39K-1, US Army Air Force serial number 42-4421, White 13, for the famous P-39N US Army Air Force SN 42-9004, White 100. This is the aircraft that obviously will most likely be on sale soon. He flew aircraft designated 100 for the rest of the war, such as the P-39N5, after 42-9004 was damaged in August or September 1943, except for a test of the Berlin Autobahn as a runway, in which Konstantin Sukhov's White 50, which was much photographed. I've not been able to really locate anything to find that, shall we say. In mid-July, the 216th Fighter Aviation Division, then redesignated 9th Guards Fighter Aviation Division, was deployed in southern Ukraine to help liberate the Donbass area. There, he continued to defeat German aces. On the 23rd of July 1943, Pokryshkin shot down the 56 kills expert of Lufthansa Elent of JG52. As I say, I do apologise for butchering any of the German pronunciation. I am not German. Same with Russian. Occasionally, his P-39s also escorted the PE-2 bombers. In that role, he used his nickname Sutka 100, his radio call sign, because he knew very well that the Luftwaffe ordered its airmen to stay off on the ground if they knew he was in the air, because yeah, he whooped their ass. A PE-2 pilot of the 36th Bomber Aviation Regiment, Timothy P. Puniov, recalled that because of heavy casualties inflicted by the German fighters, the 16th Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment was tasked to escort them. Puniov clearly remembers that twice Pokryshkin violated radio silence, saying openly in the frequency, "Vienimi Yasotka Poda or Podu na Robotu, attention, I'm 100, I'm going to work." Quite ironic. Neither on these two occasions nor after did the German fighters try to intercept the 36th Bomber Aviation Regiment. I can't say I blame them. On 20th of August, Asayev, who had been the unit navigator and then commanding officer, and with whom Pokryshkin had strong differences, he took measures to have Pokryshkin stripped of his Hero of the Soviet Union, expelled from the regiment, and hauled before a tribunal. From 10 PM that night, at least through the following day, Pokryshkin, 298 Fighter Regiments, Major Taranyenko, and the 16th Guards Commissar Gubarevim, I think that's how you say it, and some other CIS MKVD people completed interrogations and investigations. Gubarevim, with difficulty, was able to clear Pokryshkin's name and reputation, and Sasha was thereupon awarded his second Hero of the Soviet Union on 24th of August 1943. Don't worry, we're nearly there. On 21st of September 1943, Pokryshkin was involved in another high-profile air engagement. This one happened at low altitudes right over the front line. It was witnessed by dozens of journalists and representatives of the High Command. Pokryshkin shot down 3 Ju-88s in a single pass, overcome by hatred as he had just found out that his entire family of Zumud, his mechanic, had been killed in the 2 German-occupied territories. Only 2 kills were confirmed, however, the 3rd Ju-88 being recorded as brought down not by the explosion of the second one, reported by the explosion of the 2nd Ju-88 and not because of Pokryshkin's gunfire. All 3 Junkers are confirmed by German lost records. They were either Ju-88 A4s of 5, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. And earlier that day, Pokryshkin had added 2 more Ju-87s to his tally, almost certainly Ju-87 D5s of STG-1. In February 1944, Pokryshkin was offered a promotion and an easy desk job, managing new pilot training. He immediately rejected this offer and stayed at his old regiment and his old rank. However, he did not fly as much as before. Pokryshkin had been made a famous hero by the propaganda machine and was not allowed to fly as often because of his fear of him being killed. Instead, Pokryshkin spent a lot of time in the radio bunker, directing his regiment's fights over the radio, which I'm fairly certain he was a bit bored of that. In June 1944, Pokryshkin was promoted to colonel and given the command of 9th Guards Air Aviation Division. On 19th August 1944, for 550 frontline sorties and 53 official kills, Pokryshkin was awarded the Gold Star of the Hero of the Soviet Union for the 3rd time. He's a lucky sod, isn't he? He was the first person ever to receive the award 3 times, and is the only Soviet soldier to receive the award 3 times during wartime. Pokryshkin was forbidden to fly altogether, but managed to circumvent the rule a few times, and still managed to score an occasional kill. One such of these occasions occurred on the 30th of May 1944 near Jassy, Romania. The whole 16th Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment encountered a large formation of Ju-87s heading towards the Soviet ground forces, escorted by Focke 190s and Bf-109s. In the ensuing melee, the Aerocobras claimed to shoot down 5 Stukas, 3 Focke-Wulfs and 1 Messerschmitt without losses. 3 of those Ju-88s were shot down by Pokryshkin himself. The next time Pokryshkin scored victories was on the 16th of July, where he got credit for 2 more Stukas and 1 HS-129 of SG-9, probably the Henschel HS-129B2, Harry Feet's going to be annoyed about that one, of Hauptmann Rudolf Heinz Ruffer, credited with 80 tank kills. His last victory was another Ju-87 downed on the 14th of January 1945. Out of his official score of 65 victories, only 6 were scored in the last 2 years of the war. The bulk of Pokryshkin's victories came during the time when the Soviet Air Force was still fighting at a disadvantage, including amongst the most of any Soviet pilot during the most difficult first year of the war. Credited with official score of 65 kills, he soon, I meant to say sources vary, he soon died on the 13th of November 1985, aged 72. What a story for what can only be described as a fantastic pilot of the Soviet Air Force. He clearly seemed to be a very experienced pilot, and well, whilst this game wasn't exactly the best thing to have in the background, it kept everyone quiet as you listened to me. Fair enough, I did butcher a few pronunciations, so I do apologise for that. Just as a final note, I ended this game with 3 kills. I do end up killing the MB-174 on the enemy team for my final kill. But yeah, really happy that I'll soon most likely have my hands on his Cobra, and there will be a high chance that I'll be doing a video on said Cobra. But obviously, since he flew a K, I figured it was more than appropriate to do a history video based on him, and with it being his birthday coming up, I thought why not. So this is probably the longest Joe's Brief history chat that I've done, so I hope you all appreciated it. My voice certainly didn't, but even so, sorry for the terrible pronunciation of some of the Soviet and the German pronunciations. I do suck at that, and I do need to work on that. But what a man is all I'll say. And obviously, if he was alive today, I think I said, did I say 100? Well, did I say 97 or 107? I'm not sure. I think it's 107 personally, but if he was still alive today, I'm fairly certain he'd still get the same amount of respect um that he should get. Because well, I mean, just by me explaining what he did, he's clearly a very experienced pilot. And well, I know Harry's not going to be happy about the IL-2s getting escort and the HS-129s getting shot down, but at the end of the day, that's real life compared to in game. You can do a lot more in a game than you can in real life. That's for definite. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video on Alexander Pokryshkin, and obviously a bit of a special one, and I'll see you all on the next one.